All right, welcome to our Early Childhood Programs Information Night for the 26-27 school year already. My name is Elsa Carter. I'm the Early Childhood and Federal Programs Coordinator for the district. Just want to welcome you tonight. Thank you for being here. If you weren't able to make our meeting, I'm glad that you could make our webinar. We will post this webinar on our website so that you have this information. So that these slides will also be in there. Also, this is a webinar, so I'm not able to see you, but you will be able to put in questions in the chat. So at the end, I will answer some of those questions. If they're super specific, you're welcome to give us a call at the Parent Center. We can answer those. I'll probably answer more of the generic ones that apply to most of the people that will be logged in with us tonight, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. Let's see. All right, so right here we have this QR code takes you straight to our page. So this is where the flyer is with all the information for next year. So if you're already in our website, where you found the webinar login, that information is also on the left side on the tab where it says 26-27 information. But the QR code is there and it takes you straight to our flyer for the 26-27 school year. And so then this next one, if you wanted to go ahead and scan that in, use your camera to just open that up. That link, you can sign in. Just let us know you joined our webinar. You will also receive reminders of open enrollment. That way it's fresh on your mind. So if you wanted to take a moment to just scan that with your camera and sign in, it's super short, just to let us know you were here tonight and receive those reminders as they come up in March. I'll just give everybody a moment to do that if they would like. If you didn't get a chance to scan it in at the end, if you just want me to pull it back up, you can put it in the chat. Hey, can we see that sign in QR code again? And I will pull it right back up, okay? All right, so this right here, these three ladies are the ladies that you will probably be speaking with if you call our Parent Center. On the left, you have Miss Angela, Renee, and Alma. So they will be able to answer all of your questions in regards to pre-K. So anything that has to do with pre-K, give us a call at the Parent Center. All the application reviews for pre-K go through our department. And then once we review, we do all of the approvals for those and then the placements to the campuses. So any questions you have, we're happy to help. Give us a call. That is our Parent Center phone number. All right, so the locations for the 26-27 school year, these locations are the same as they are for this year. Now, some campuses have, one classroom, other campuses have two, and a few of them have three pre-K classrooms. So when it comes to registering and enrollment, some of them do get filled up a little bit quicker than others, just due to however many we have there. For bilingual and pre-K, we have three bilingual campuses, and then of course our early Head Start campus, which is right next to the Utley Middle School. And we'll talk a little bit more about those programs as we go along. Now, these locations are subject to change just because in April, when we start looking at, projected numbers for the upcoming year and all of that, that might change a little bit, but it will change on our website so that everyone's aware. If we have to contact you to let you know we're having to move or add, we'll make sure that we communicate that information. All right, so we have several programs for pre-K, one of them being our qualifying pre-K. This is the state-funded pre-K. So for that program, the child must be on or before September the 1st, and they must live in the Rockwall ISD attendance zone. And there's different criteria that you can meet in order to receive that state-funded pre-K service. We're going to just kind of scan through a little bit of the qualifications. You guys will have this information. It'll be on the website, so you can go into a little bit more into detail, spend more time reading it. I'm just going to kind of do an overview over it, and then we'll go from there. At 6:30, I will start the Spanish presentation. So if we don't get to a lot of the questions, go ahead and put them in the chat, and then we'll put them on our Q&A on our website as well. And then if you do not meet any of this criteria, then you would still have an opportunity to enroll your child in the tuition pre-K program that we're going to talk about next. So, all right, so the first thing for qualifying pre-K was economically disadvantaged. So these right here are just examples of some of the things that you can submit to meet that criteria. If you submit something, we may ask for additional information and we may not. It just depends on if the information you provided will suffice to meet that criteria. For a limited English proficient, the child must speak another language at home. And if that's what you let us know, then we will schedule them for testing. And so we'll do an oral language assessment. And then depending on the evaluation and what the results are, we will let you know if they qualify based on this or if they don't. And maybe you can meet another qualifying criteria, or maybe tuition will be an option for you. For homeless families, we do a interview, and then from there, Student Services will review that application and approve or deny based on, if they meet the McKinney-Vento criteria. For foster, this is information that we need, just that child placement documentation. And then for military, for active duty, those are just some of the examples. You don't have to meet everything. And then for, military members who were either injured or killed, this is the information that we would need, that we would ask for. The Star of Texas, it would require a certificate to be submitted. And this is a new one that the state just released for this current year, which is a child of a teacher employed by Rockwall ISD. They still have to meet the House bill criteria. So, we review all of that, and that's a little bit new. So if y'all have questions, give us a call at the Parent Center. All right, so that was the qualifying criteria. This is now the tuition pre-K. And so, for those that don't necessarily meet the criteria for qualifying, we do offer this program just to give everybody an opportunity to experience that high quality pre-K and just build a really strong foundation for kinder. And so the cost for this upcoming year is $6,700 for the year, or $670 per month for 10 months, August through May. So this year we are going to be able to utilize cards. So we're excited about that. That was highly requested by parents. And so we are partnering with Easy Child Track. And I know that if you have kids in the district that are in the ROC after school program, that is the same system that they use. And so now you'll be able to do, pay for pre-K and also ROC on the same platform. So if you do see things, that say ROC and/or / pre-K, that's because we are utilizing the same platform, but we're going to break everything down. Like if it's for ROC or if it's for pre-K, it'll be labeled and it'll say on there. So we're just trying to bring that to parents' awareness, so that if you see something that says ROC and you're like, why am I getting something from ROC? It's just because, we are utilizing that same platform, but if you keep reading, it might, ROC may be first, but then it'll talk about pre-K under. And so it'll have contact information for both programs. You can always give us a call and we're happy to direct you to, the department that you need to speak with. All right, so for online tuition registration, it is going to open on February the 9th, okay? What you will do at that time is on our website, where we do have the tuition information, because after this webinar, we're transitioning all our information into the 26-27 school year. And so currently it's still current year because we enroll all year long, but we will start to transition that. So when you go to tuition, there will be a link to the parent portal for Easy Child Track, and that's where you're going to go and you're going to pay the registration fee of $155 that is non-refundable. And then once you do that, it'll ask you what campus you want to secure. And then you would put that in there. Once you do that, you'll receive an email saying, we receive your registration. Your application will be reviewed. Once we review them, you will get an additional approval letter for the campus that you chose. You will know immediately if you got a spot or not, basically, because if you go in there and it says, oh, I'm sorry, you have been waitlisted, that means there was no more spots available for that campus. Now, it's early. We're doing this in February. So if during the summer somebody moves out, and we have a spot come available, we will reference that wait list and we'll go in that order of everybody that has been waitlisted, and you will get contacted. You will receive an email that says, hey, we've had a spot open up. If you would like to, take this spot, please complete the following registration. And that's when you'll be charged the 155 if you want to take that spot. Okay. Registration does open at 9. So the button won't be clickable until then. And then for everybody qualifying, if you're planning on qualifying through military or foster or income or anything, and or if you're tuition, on March 30th, everybody has to complete the new student online enrollment. Okay. So whether you've already filled out tuition on February the 9th, or you're going to try to qualify and you're going to fill out your enrollment on March 30th, everybody has to complete it on March 30th, that online enrollment. Okay. If you have questions, please call us. We are so happy to help. Also, if you, before February the 9th, if you want to get in there a couple of days before and just make sure you know where the links are for the tuition, if you're going to purchase that, and you have a question like, is this the right link? Am I in the right place? Give us a call. That way, we realize it can be kind of stressful to be like, it's February 9th, 9 a.m. And we understand, and we don't want that. So just give us a call. Is this the link? Is this where I go? And we will walk you through it just to make sure that everybody knows where to go, and you have a higher chance to making sure that you get the campus that you want. And then for May 30th, just make sure, like, once you've received all your emails that confirm your campus, you've been approved, then by then we want to make sure that you've submitted all other documentation that the campus needs, and they will reach out and tell you what it is that they need, and just make sure you have that submitted. That way, when it's back to school, all you got to do is fill out their back to school forms, and you're good to go. All right, early Head Start. So for early Head Start, applications will open on February 16th. And so if you have questions about, qualifications, or, maybe I'm not sure if I qualify, we're happy to help. You can contact them directly at that phone number. They do have different qualifications than pre-K. And so just give them a call or give us a call, and we're happy to help see if that's something that you might qualify for. Those are for children who are newborns all the way to the age of 2. And the reason why I say up to 2, because when we say up to 3, it's that they're 2 when they're enrolled, and they can turn 3 while they're in the program. We just don't enroll kids who are already 3 years of age. All right, early childhood special education. It is a program that we have for, children with disabilities. And so that is a program that's based on an evaluation. And then, we review the results. We have an art committee meeting, and then we see if it's something that the child does qualify for, or if they don't. So if you have any questions about that, I'm going to have some contact information for all those departments at the end. We also have bilingual and ESL pre-K. So for bilingual students, we provide the opportunity for them to continue learning in their native language as they're learning English. And then for English as a second language, they receive instruction only in English. And so, but they still get those supports from their ESL teacher as needed. Child nutrition. Okay, so if you're going to fill out a meal application, which I encourage everyone to go ahead and fill one out, just make sure that we're not doing it prior to July 1st. It shouldn't be included in any of the things that you see, but just in case that it is, wait till you're filling out those back to school forms. It will be included in there. That's after July 1st. Because if for whatever reason you do it before July 1st, it's going to apply to this current year, not the 26-27. You'll have to redo it. So we just want to make sure that you, if it's for next year, wait till after July 1st. And if you have more than one child, you do not have to fill out more than one application. One per family that's all we need. For meal services, for pre-K, what it means that they are pre-served is that, sometimes in the older grades, they get a choice. Sometimes it's hamburger and chicken nuggets and they get to choose. For pre-K, the state provides us with a menu that is nutritionally good for the kids. And so we must follow that. And sometimes that just means that they don't get a choice. They may just get chicken nuggets, and their fruits and vegetables or whatever that day. And so that's a little bit different than the other grades. Now, if you have any special diet requests, the doctor's note, just send that to the nurse, get with the nurse. We'll be able to do whatever modifications are, required for the child. Transportation. So parents or guardians must provide transportation for children in the pre-K program, whether it's qualifying, tuition, any early childhood program that is for pre-K, because Rockwall ISD does not provide transportation for students in the pre-K program. Now, if they're in the special education program, that's different because that's a specialized bus in a form of transportation. But just for pre-K tuition or qualifying, we do not provide transportation. All right, now, why Rockwall ISD? Well, I know you guys probably have, had other people that that have had their kids in here, and they're like, oh, they love the teachers. They just work so well with the kids. They're highly qualified. They're the teaching assistants as well. The teachers are certified, and so we provide a lot of professional development for them. That way, they can take that back to the classroom. And they apply it to the Texas Education Pre-K guidelines. So we follow that as our curriculum, all those guidelines, but we make it fun for the students so that when they come home and they say, oh, we just played games, they probably did play games, but it was probably math games and letter games where they're identifying uppercase and lowercase and, reading sight words and different things like that. So we do try to make it super engaging for them. We want them to love school because more than anything, they have to love to come to school every day in order for them to want to learn. We do assess them 3 times a year. So they will be assessed at the beginning, the middle, and the end. There are some direct observations that we do with them, and then the things that we just observe them doing. The teachers will schedule that parent conference in October, I believe. And in October, when you meet with them, that's when they'll go over those assessments and explain everything to you, where the child is at, what our goals are going to be, and what we're going to do to get there. And in the middle of the year, we can see some growth. And at the end of the year, hopefully they are exactly where we need them, and there's not any surprises. And teachers are always happy to discuss all of the things that you could be doing at home to help, what they're doing in the classroom. So be sure to, get with your teacher. They're happy to be support for you. So then what we do with those assessments is we look at where the kids are and then we differentiate that instruction. So that way we can meet the student right where they're at and help all of the students grow. So we may have different levels, and so they kind of rotate through stations just to help them. And that way the teacher gets to meet with all of the kids for literacy and all of the kids for math and just ensure that everyone is going to be successful. This is just an example of a daily schedule because once, students start and they're enrolled in pre-K, they must come to school. Attendance counts just like any other grade level. And so, yes, of course, we'll have doctor's visits or, that's fine. Just send their doctor's note, just like you would for any other upper grade. But we do want them to be here every day because if you can see right here, all of the instructional minutes, I mean, they have a packed schedule. They're learning, they're moving, so when they miss, they miss quite a bit. And then of course they miss fun things, they're doing new games or activities. And so we want to make sure that they're here with us every day. And of course, we do believe that parents are our partners, and we want to work closely with you guys because you know your kids best. And so I'm sure you'll have teachers reaching out and saying, hey, what works for your child? Tell us a little bit more, because we want to make sure that we're doing what's best for them and helping them in the ways that you're going to be able to share with us. So definitely be sure to get with them. You guys are the experts in that field with your child. So I'm sure the teachers would reach out as well. We do offer, meals at school. And so, but that doesn't mean that, you might say, I have a picky eater, or can I send lunch every now and then? Of course, you can send their breakfast, or if they already eat at home, they don't have to eat at school for lunch. You can send their lunch. If you qualify for free or reduced, they'll receive that at school. If you don't, you can still pay for a lunch tray or you can send their lunchbox. So, that is, your choice. We do offer the ROC program, which I mentioned earlier, which is the after school program. Now, they only accept pre-K 4 through grade 5. Um, and so no pre-K 3. The reason why it's there, we do not have a community pre-K 3 program, but if we have students who are in ECSC who are 3 years old, they wouldn't qualify because they're 3. So, or in the special education classroom. So only 4 and up, and they must be potty trained. So they do have to be able to wipe themselves, pull up their pants, buckle their pants, do all of that. It is a separate tuition cost. This is just the after school program, so it is completely different. But if you have questions about that, just give us a call. All right, now getting ready for pre-K. We get a lot of questions from parents like, well, what can we do in the meantime? What do they need to know? It's mostly just, being exposed to listening and following 1 and 2 step directions. So just having the kids, say, okay, I need you to grab your backpack, put your shoes on, grab your backpack, put your shoes on, and meet me at the door, 3 step directions. Just having them follow those because they're going to be getting that all day at school. And, speaking in complete sentences makes a big difference. That way, when you're asking them questions, they don't just answer, one word or point. We want them using that oral language. We want them using that vocabulary. So just being an example and repeating and having them do the same is super helpful. And then on potty training, that is so important. We highly, highly encourage for the kids to be potty trained. When they come to us, I mean, we have, what is it, about 7 months before August, right? To get to August, 7 months where we can definitely work on potty training because we don't want them missing any academic time, having to go change, you're having to send clothes and we're sending them back. And, not only that, but then it also does affect a little bit of their social emotional because they're seeing that other kids, they're not having accidents or, so they start to feel a little bit embarrassed. And, of course, the teachers are going to try everything and say, it's okay, it's normal to, make sure that they don't feel that way. But also, it's super important to note our pre-K teachers and our instructional assistants they do not receive toilet training. And so they do not wipe the kids. So it's really important for them to be able to do that. That way they're not getting a rash or, anything like that. We don't want them and to be uncomfortable at school. And so the only ones that would be trained is if your child was in the special education classroom and they had special needs, those teachers are trained, those instructional assistants are trained, but the pre-K classrooms, they are not. So they will not be wiping the kids. So it's really important that they're able to do that. We recommend, pants that are easy for them to put on. Sometimes those buttons, there's certain buttons that are really hard, but things because we're encouraging them to become more independent. Our goal is for them to be independent, to be ready for kindergarten. And so in order to do that, we have to set them up for success. So that really helps. Now, if y'all have questions about potty training or anything like that, please give us a call. We're happy to answer your questions. But it is a great time to get started. And then, of course, just establishing some bedtime routines, being consistent with that. They love quality reading time. Again, that's so helpful for their oral language, vocabulary development. And then they do benefit from getting a lot of sleep. Sometimes, in the classroom as teachers, we can tell when they don't get a lot of sleep, it does impact their behaviors. And so it always helps when they're well rested and ready to learn and have fun. All right, so now when you go to our website and you go to new student and you go to early childhood, as you can see on the left side, you're going to have all that qualifying, enrollment questions, tuition, Head Start. You're going to have all that information on there. So that's exactly what it's going to look like. We're going to start updating all our information to the 26-27, and under the tuition is where you're going to find, excuse me, the link to enroll on February the 9th. So we'll get all that set up between now and then. And like I said, a few days early, go in there, make sure you know where it's at. You can get in there, and then call us if you have any questions. That way you don't feel so rushed on that day. All right, so here is our contact information for special programs if you do have some questions for them. Rock, of course, bilingual, child nutrition, and then the pre-K information, that's the parent center, that's us. And then you have early Head Start. That's my information down at the bottom. So if you wanted to send me an email, and you have a question for me, I'm happy to help. So we have a couple minutes. That's the end of that presentation. So I'm going to look at the questions real quick, and then that way I can answer as many of those as I can. And then we'll get started with our Spanish presentation. Okay, so let me look on here real quick. Let's see. Our paid tuition pre-K guaranteed a spot. So if you go in there to register on February the 9th, if it lets you go through the whole thing, thank you for your registration. You pretty much know that you have gotten a spot at that campus because it allowed you to do that. If you go in there and you hit the button and it says you have been waitlisted, then you know that that campus no longer has any spots left. Okay. I hope that helped that question. The hours for pre-K are the same as all the other grade levels, so it's 7:45 to 2:45. For if you're trying to qualify based on language, so when you fill out your March 30th enrollment and you put on there that you're trying to meet the language criteria to qualify through language criteria, once we review that application and we see that, we're going to reach out to you and we're going to call you and we're going to schedule it. It's going to be whenever you're able to bring them in. We might give you some dates, but we're going to start testing as soon as April. So April, May, June, July, we'll test all through the summer. So we can schedule that date whenever you're available to bring them in. The sooner the better, because we're going to review the applications in order and place the kids as we have that qualifying criteria being met. All right, let's see. If you are trying to qualify on a disability, disabled veteran, you have that information, you have that documentation, it's current, then you pretty much know that that's going to be a guaranteed spot. So on March 30th, you just log in, complete that enrollment. You would put on there, this is how I plan to qualify. And then if you go ahead and submit that information, that's great. If you don't, we're going to reach out and say, hey, do you have that letter from the VA that states that information? You send that in, and as soon as you get it, we were able to place. Sometimes, yes, if we call you and we don't hear from you for about a month, we've already placed other kids, at that campus. And so that campus may be full by the time, you get back to us. But if you get back quicker, the sooner you get back, the more likely it is that you get at the campus that you want. Okay, let's see. Okay, so if they are not for on or before September the 1st, they will not qualify. We don't have like a grace period of 3 days, before or after or something like that. We don't have any 3-year-old programs currently. So it is just a pre-K 4. So they will have to wait till they're 4 years old on or before that September 1st cutoff to start in either one of those programs, the qualifying or the tuition. The teacher to student ratio, we have the instructional assistant and the teacher to 20 to 22 students. The cap is 22. Early Head Start qualifying process is a little similar, yes, to the qualifying for pre-K. They do have a little bit different criteria because pre-K 4 is state funded, but Early Head Start is federal funding, so it's a little bit more strict. But yes, it is a little bit similar. If you are qualifying, you do not have to pay the 155 registration fee. That is only for the people who are trying to get a tuition spot. So if you, for example, know for sure, because you are active military, that you are going to pretty much qualify on March 30th, then you do not need to pay 155 registration and reserve a tuition spot. You just wait till the 30th, March 30th. If a child is already enrolled in Rockwall ISD in speech or some other program, they already have an enrollment. So just email us and let us know how you're trying to qualify, and then we will be able to work with you from there. So yeah, just contact us. Do we communicate with parents through a portal? We don't have like a generic pre-K programs portal. You can email any of us. You can contact that phone number. You can email me personally. We do have like if you have questions, like a Google form, like for anybody who can put in questions. But once we place your child at your campus, then you will just be getting all that information from your campus, like their newsletters and all of that information. We really just review applications, we approve them, and then we send them to the campuses, and then they complete the enrollment. They'll ask for your immunization records, birth certificates, all of that. So once they're at a campus, you're just, getting all the information from the campus. Yeah, so if you join late, no worries. We have recorded this, and so we're going to post it on the website. You can expect to see it within the next few days, or maybe next week, since it's already Friday tomorrow. But maybe next week we'll already have it posted, so that you can have the slide presentation, and you can also have you'll be able to view this webinar. All right, let me see. We may have to get started with the Spanish, but let me look at a couple more questions. So registration for tuition is February the 9th, and then qualifying pre-K spots for enrollment start on March 30th. So for tuition spots, we have a limited amount of tuition spots that we can offer due just to the also to the space availability that we have. We only have certain classrooms at certain campuses due to their enrollment. And so, but qualifying pre-K, we accept all year no matter what. If you're a qualifying pre-K student, the state says you must be served, so we must serve you no matter what. So we take qualifying kids all year long. That's why our information on the website tends to stay current year, just because we enroll all year for them. For tuition spots, once they sell out, like that's really all we can have, just because we do have to have spots for all of our qualifying kids that are going to continuously come to us throughout the year. All right. I think that's all the questions. So I just want to say thank you so much to you guys for being here with us tonight. I appreciate it. And so we are about to switch over to our Spanish presentation. So if you have any questions, again, just contact us at the Parent Center. We're happy to help. Thank you. All right, there. I was just going to set up the Spanish so we can be ready to go. We'll start that one. We'll give one. Okay. Bienvenidos. a nuestra noche de información sobre la educación infantil para el año escolar 2026-2027. De una vez vamos a empezar. Ok, mi nombre es Elsa Carter y yo soy la coordinadora de los programas infantiles y de los programas federales del distrito. Aquí tenemos a las señoritas que están en nuestra oficina. Cuando ustedes hablan en nuestra oficina, una de ellas yo creo va a ser la que va a contestar el teléfono. Tenemos a Alma, Renee y Ángela. Entonces, cuando ustedes hablan aquí a la oficina, tienen cualquier pregunta de pre-kinder, del horario, de cómo calificar, ellas van a poder ayudarles. Alma y Ángela hablan español, entonces pueden hablar con ellas, me pueden a mí mandar mensaje, yo también, o sea, les puedo ayudar. Cualquier cosa que necesiten, por favor, háblenos a la oficina. Ahora sí, vamos a aprender de los programas. Ok, aquí es donde estos son las escuelas donde se va a ofrecer el pre-kinder. Son igual de las que están ofreciendo pre-kinder este año. Ok. Unas de estas escuelas tienen un salón de prekinder, hay algunas que tienen dos y algunas que tienen tres. Entonces es un poquito, o sea, diferente cuántos niños vamos a poder a decir que van a asistir en un salón porque, o una escuela porque tenemos diferentes salones en cada una de las escuelas. Para prekinder bilingüe, solo tenemos tres escuelas que ofrecen el prekinder. Entonces, si usted va a calificar bajo el lenguaje porque hablan español y los quieren en el salón bilingüe, va a ser una de estas tres escuelas. Vamos a tratar de ponerla en la escuela que está más cerca de ustedes, pero esas son las únicas tres que si está lleno el espacio en una, entonces va a ser en otra. También tenemos el programa de Early Head Start. Está a un lado de la escuela Utley, que es la middle school. Y todos estos lugares sí están sujetos a cambios, solo porque ya en abril, cuando vamos a empezar a ver y hacer las proyecciones para el próximo año escolar, vamos a ver cuántos salones vamos a necesitar por cada escuela. Pero ahorita todo se va a quedar igual. Si algo cambia, nosotros les hablamos y les dejamos saber. Para el prekinder gratuito, es uno de los programas que tenemos, ¿ok? Los niños deben de tener 4 años de edad antes o para el 1 de septiembre de este año escolar. Tienen que vivir en la zona de asistencia del distrito de Rockwall y tienen que calificar con una de estas criterias que tenemos aquí. ¿Ok? Ahorita vamos a hablar un poquito más de cada criteria. ¿Ok? Si usted no cumple con alguno de estas criterias aquí, entonces tendrá la oportunidad de registrarse para el programa de mensualidades de prekinder. Aquí, si usted va a tratar de calificar, con la criteria de bajos ingresos, entonces no tiene que tener toda esta información, pero o sea, puede que nosotros le pidamos alguna de estas cosas y dependiendo en la documentación que usted, nos entregue, a lo mejor le pedimos otro tipo de documentación o algo más o algo así, pero va a ser de estas que están en la lista. Si va a tratar de calificar con el dominio limitado del inglés, entonces lo que tenemos que hacer es cuando usted vaya a llenar la aplicación, va a poner yo quiero calificar bajo el dominio limitado de inglés. Nosotros le vamos a llamar y vamos a hacer una cita para que traiga al niño a la oficina y le vamos a hacer una evaluación de los idiomas. Y entonces, dependiendo en esos resultados, vamos a ver si sí califica bajo esa criteria. Si no, puede ver si califica bajo otra criteria o tiene la opción del prekinder pagado. Este es sin hogar. Entonces, para este criterio, nosotros hacemos una entrevista con usted, les hacemos unas preguntas, lo entregamos a los servicios de estudiantes. Ellos revisan la aplicación y ellos ya la aprobarán o la negarán y luego ya nos dejan saber a nosotros les decimos a ustedes si calificaron bajo ese criterio o no. Acogida temporal, la documentación que se necesita es la documentación del Departamento de Servicios de Protección Familiar. Y si es de familia militar, entonces puede que nosotros le preguntemos por alguno de estos documentos. Si no lo entrega inmediatamente, nosotros de todas maneras le hablamos, se lo pedimos y luego ya podemos seguir con el proceso. ¿Ok? Ustedes van a tener acceso a esta información porque la vamos a poner en nuestra página de web. Ok, so todo esto va a estar ahí, el video va a estar ahí, esta información va a estar ahí, pero si tienen cualquier pregunta, déjenos saber. Toda la información ahorita está corriente, está en el 2025-2026, pero poquito a poquito lo vamos a ir ya cambiando al 26-27. Ok. También puede calificar con la estrella de Texas. Aquí necesitaremos ese certificado. Y aquí es si es un hijo de un maestro empleado por Rockwall ISD. Ok, entonces, ese era el si usted califica y el estado paga, entonces ustedes, los niños vienen, y ustedes no tienen que pagar nada, es gratuito. Pero este programa es el de mensualidades. Ok, si no califica con ninguna de las cosas que acabamos de decir, entonces a lo mejor esta es una opción para su familia. Pero si es $670 al mes de agosto a mayo. Okay. Y entonces, lo que, o sea, cómo se va a registrar es por un programa que se llama ahí Easy Child Track. Entonces ahí es donde usted va a llenar la aplicación, va a poner qué escuela quiere y luego, va a pagar $155 de la registración. Ok. Va a poder hacer esto el 9 de febrero. Si va a querer un lugar pagado para prekinder, el 9 de febrero se va a abrir esta aplicación. Ustedes la van a poder llenar. Va a estar en la página de web de nosotros. Ahorita les voy a enseñar dónde. Y entonces, cuando vayan a llenar ahí, van a poner qué escuela quieren asistir y luego les va a decir, ok, gracias, ya recibimos su registración. Entonces ya saben que sí tienen un lugar. Porque si dice, oh, no, los hemos ponido en la lista de espera, entonces ya saben que ya no habían lugares ahí, ok, en esa escuela. Entonces van a saber inmediatamente, ok. Ahora, el segundo paso es el 30 de marzo. No importa si usted está tratando de calificar o si está pagando un lugar para prekinder. El 30 de marzo, todos los que están aplicando para prekinder tienen que llenar la matrícula en línea para los estudiantes. Se abre para todo el distrito. Entonces, si en febrero 9 usted agarró un lugar para su niño en prekinder, ok, el 30 de marzo usted ya va a saber porque nosotros ya le mandamos información que dice que lo aprobamos. El 30 de marzo usted se va a meter, va a llenar la información. Esa es la información que el distrito necesita. Sus nombres, su dirección, sus teléfonos, toda esa información. ¿Ok? Si usted se va a esperar porque quiere calificar por familia militar o algo así, el 30 de marzo se mete y le pone, empieza a llenar esa matrícula y le pone yo quiero calificar con familia militar. Y entonces ya nosotros le hablamos y le pedimos la documentación. ¿Ok? Pero todos tienen que hacer ese paso el 30 de marzo. Y luego ya para los fines de mayo, nada más asegúrese de que ya entregó toda la documentación para finalizar esa matrícula. Porque después de que nosotros aprobamos la aplicación, entonces la mandamos a esa escuela. La escuela la recibe y entonces ellos son los que les hablan y les dicen, oh, necesitamos todavía la carta de vacunas o el certificado de nacimiento. Entonces es cuando ustedes ya van a entregar el resto de eso, pero a la escuela donde nosotros, aquí en esta oficina, los aprobamos. Ok. Ahora también tenemos el servicio para mujeres embarazadas y niños de nacimiento hasta los 2 años de edad de Head Start de la temprana edad. Ok, entonces las solicitudes se van a abrir el 16 de febrero. Ustedes ya pueden llenar esa solicitud. Si creen que van a calificar, pueden hablar a ese número de teléfono, mandar un correo electrónico o hablarme a mí o a nuestra oficina y preguntar si ustedes piensan que a lo mejor están interesados o pueden calificar para este servicio. También tenemos educación especial de la primera infancia. Ahora, una evaluación se tiene que hacer a los niños ya sea o sea, entre 3 y 5 años. Se hace la evaluación y vemos si ellos califican para recibir servicios de educación especial. ¿Ok? Y luego ya se tiene una junta, los resultados ahí los vemos, el comité va a decidir qué tipo de apoyo va a necesitar. También, o sea, tenemos el prekinder bilingüe y el programa de ESL, que es el de segundo, inglés como segundo idioma. El bilingüe sí es para los estudiantes que hablan español, les da la oportunidad de continuar aprendiendo en su idioma materno mientras están aprendiendo el inglés. Ahora, el programa de inglés como segundo idioma, ese se hace, las maestras enseñan todo en inglés, pero están ahí para apoyar con fotos, vocabulario, lo que ellos vayan a necesitar. Si va a llenar una solicitud para las comidas, nosotros queremos que la mayoría de la gente llene esta solicitud, pero nada más esté seguro que lo haga después del 1 de julio, porque si lo hace antes del 1 de julio, entonces va a contar para este año escolar. Y nosotros si lo queremos para el 2026-2027, tiene que ser después del 1 de julio. No creo que vaya a estar ahí en una de las formas ahorita todavía, pero por si la ven, debe de estar en las formas cuando los niños ya van a regresar en agosto, que empiezan a llenar toda esa información, es cuando va a ir en esas formas que llenan en la computadora, de regreso a la escuela, pero por si la ve. Y solo se tiene que llenar una por familia. Si tiene más niños, está bien, solo una y eso es lo único que se necesita. Si los estudiantes, sí están comiendo en la escuela, van a tener comidas que son preservidas. Preservidas, lo que significa es que, por ejemplo, otros niños de kinder, segundo año, tercero, tienen a veces opciones en lo que comen, a veces una pizza, una hamburguesa. Entonces ellos pueden escoger. Pero para los niños de prekinder, el Estado nos da ya el calendario de comidas que los niños van a comer y basado en su nutrición, a veces no tienen ellos una opción. Solo en prekinder, esto es lo que se da, por ejemplo, solo es la hamburguesa y eso es lo único que comen, no tienen la opción. No sé si tienen su fruta, su verdura y todo eso, la leche, pero no tienen opción de dos cosas, ¿ok? Eso es lo que significa esa. Y si, por ejemplo, ellos tienen una dieta especial, el doctor tiene nota, ustedes pueden hablar con la enfermera, dar esa nota y nosotros podemos ver cómo le podemos ayudar al niño para que agarre su comida de ahí de la escuela. El transporte. El padre o tutor legal debe de proporcionar el transporte porque Rockwall ISD no ofrece transporte para los estudiantes del programa de prekinder. Entonces no hay servicios de autobús que los lleven o los traen o se vayan con sus hermanos ni nada de eso. Los padres tienen que llevarlos a la escuela y tienen que recogerlos a la escuela. All right. Ahora, ¿por qué deben de escoger en los programas de Rockwall, para la primera infancia? Tenemos las maestras que están tituladas, las asistentes están altamente calificadas. Nosotros proveemos desarrollo profesional para que estén al tanto de todas las nuevas estrategias, puedan ayudar a los estudiantes. Y también todos nuestros estudios están alineados con las pautas de Texas, de prekinder. Entonces, todo lo que les enseñamos a los niños es todo lo que el Estado dice que ellos tienen que aprender. Lo tratamos de hacer en formas divertidas, para que ellos quieran venir a la escuela, les encanta regresar, jugar juegos. Y sí van a decir que han jugado juegos, pero aprendiendo, de las letras, de los números. Entonces, si les dicen, sí, nada más jugamos, están aprendiendo. Si evaluamos a los estudiantes 3 veces al año, entonces al empiezo del año, solo para ver dónde están, qué es lo que saben, y luego después a la mitad de año para ver cuánto han aprendido, y luego al fin de año para ver todo lo que aprendieron durante el año. Y eso nos ayuda a las maestras para poder hacer los grupos pequeños, donde podemos proveer diferente material y todo lo que ellos necesitan, porque van a necesitar diferentes cosas y aprender en diferentes maneras. Entonces aquí es donde vemos esos resultados y vemos cómo les podemos ayudar en unos grupos pequeños para que estén más atentos, podamos corregir y ayudar en unos grupos más chicos. Esto es un ejemplo del horario. Por ejemplo, aquí pueden ver que, o sea, están bien ocupados todo el día aprendiendo, jugando. Entonces, no nos gusta que falten porque a veces pierden cosas divertidas. Otra cosa es que cuando ellos ya empiezan pre-kinder, sí necesitan venir. Su asistencia sí cuenta. así como todos los otros niños de todos los otros niveles y todos los otros grados, cuenta. Ahora, si tiene que ir al doctor, está bien, no se preocupe, solo mande la nota que fue al doctor, igual que los otros niños, pero sí nos gusta que estén aquí todos los días, no perdiendo todo el aprendizaje académico. Ahora, nosotros creemos en la colaboración con los padres de familia porque ustedes conocen a sus hijos, ustedes saben qué es lo que trabaja con ellos, qué funciona, cómo ayudar. Entonces, las maestras puede que tengan muchas preguntas para ustedes, para saber cómo ayudar a sus niños, cómo apoyarlos, cómo trabajar juntos como un equipo. Entonces, usted, no, o sea, si tiene pregunta, háblele a la maestra, pregúntele, estamos aquí para apoyarlos. Ahora, a ver, desayuno y almuerzo. Si llenaron la aplicación y calificaron para el almuerzo reducido o gratuito, pues ellos pueden agarrar sus charolas todos los días. Si ustedes dicen, no, yo quiero mandar su comida en una lonchera, ok, muy bien, ustedes manden su lonchera todos los días. Ellos pueden, comer su lonchera. A unos días pueden agarrar de ahí. Si ustedes tienen el calendario de todo lo que se va a dar las comidas, las maestras mandan esos. Puedes decir, ah, mira, este día es pizza, ¿te gusta la pizza? Ese día puedes agarrar tu charola. Ustedes pueden poner dinero en una cuenta si no calificaron para comida reducida o gratuita, y pues, ellos pueden agarrar una charola. Este es el programa de cuidado de después de la escuela. Okay. Si ustedes es separado de prekinder, tiene otro costo de mensualidades separado. Es para los niños de 4 años al quinto grado. Este, el horario es de 2:45 a 6. Sí tienen que saber ir al baño independientemente, limpiarse, subirse los pantalones, todo eso para estar en este programa. Si tienen más preguntas, también tiene una página de internet que pueden ver, esta que está aquí. Oye, si ya ustedes ya saben el sitio donde estamos, ahí también lo pueden ver. Ahora, para prepararnos para pre-kinder. Una de las cosas que ayuda mucho es que ellos escuchen y sigan instrucciones de uno, dos, tres pasos. Eso los va a alistar muchísimo. Decirle, a ver, ponte tu chamarra, tus zapatos y acá te espero en la puerta. O empezar poquito con unas instrucciones, dos pasos, tres. Hablar con ellos usando oraciones completas. En lugar de nada más enseñar con los dedos o lo que sea, decirles, ah, a ver, repite lo que yo dije. Esto les va a ayudar con el lenguaje oral, les va a ayudar con su vocabulario y eso es lo que queremos, ¿verdad? También entrenarlos ir al baño. Eso es muy, muy importante. De ahorita a agosto tenemos 7 meses. Si no, todavía saben ellos cómo ir al baño solitos, no saben avisar. Ahorita es el tiempo porque no queremos que pierdan tiempo académico, no queremos que les dé vergüenza o anden mojados, incómodos, ni nada de eso. Queremos que ellos les encante venir a la escuela todo el tiempo. Otra de las cosas es que nuestras maestras de prekinder y las asistentes, ellas no están entrenadas para limpiar a los niños. Ellos no van a poder limpiar a los niños, ¿ok? So, si su hijo viene y necesita que alguien lo limpie, él o ella se va a tener que limpiar solito. Que lo único que podemos hacer es hablarle a ustedes y decir, no, ¿saben qué? Ahora fueron al baño, necesitan checarlos porque no queremos que anden incómodos ni nada de eso. Entonces, si tienen preguntas sobre eso, llámenos, ¿ok? Ahora es importante establecer una rutina, trabajar, establecer una rutina de en la noche, estar con ellos, leer un libro, algo rápido. Eso les ayuda mucho con su vocabulario, lenguaje oral. También dormir, porque los cambios en rutina les afectan el comportamiento en la escuela. Entonces es importante que estén muy descansados para que puedan aprender y se diviertan en la escuela, tengan energía. Ahora, si estamos aquí en esta página de Rockwall, entonces ustedes, donde se van a estudiantes nuevos, New Student, al lado izquierdo van a ver donde dice Early Childhood Pre-K. Ahí es donde se fueron hoy en la noche para estar aquí con nosotros. El lado izquierdo es donde ya vamos a empezar a cambiar todo para el año 2026-2027. So, cuando ustedes se vayan a calificar, qualifying, ahí es donde el marzo 30 van a poder ir, llenar toda su información. Si van a pagar, pueden ir al de Tuition Pre-K, que es el de prekinder pagado, y van a poder el 9 de febrero. entrar ahí, separar su lugar, registrarse. Yo les recomiendo que unos días antes del 9 de febrero, si van a tratar de agarrar o reservar un lugar de prekinder pagado, vayan, chequen ahí el enlace, dónde ir, cómo se llega. Si tienen preguntas, háblenos con tiempo. Nosotros podemos ayudarles para que ese día ya sepan exactamente dónde ir y les toque la escuela donde ustedes quieran, porque si no, hay veces que se llenan y si ya está llena esa, van a tener que escoger otro lugar. ¿Ok? Lo mismo con los niños que califican. Si vamos ahí metiendo a los niños que califican, aprobándolos, va a llegar un tiempo donde se llena esa clase y los que vayan siguiendo, pues los vamos a tener que, si los aprobamos, los vamos a tener que poner en otra escuela. Ok, y acuérdense, no hay transporte, si ustedes los tienen que llevar a otro lado, aunque tengan un niño en una escuela y un niño en otra escuela. Ok, eso lo más pronto que lo hagan, lo mejor. Ahora, aquí está la información de cada departamento que nosotros tenemos o de los que hablamos, de educación especial, de Rock, que es el después de el cuidado después de la escuela, de la nutrición, bilingüe, el que dice pre-kinder, de pre-K, esa es nuestra oficina, ustedes pueden llamar ahí, mi información está ahí abajo, ¿ok? El de Head Start también. Háblenos, cualquier pregunta es mejor saber, nosotros se la contestamos rapidito y ya tiene toda la información. Ok, so ahora déjenme ver si hay alguna pregunta aquí en el chat, porque si hay preguntas, las puedo contestar de una vez. Ok, no veo ni una pregunta. Entonces, nada más quiero agradecerles por estar aquí con nosotros esta noche. Bienvenidos a Rockwall, si ya están listos para, para registrarse. Si cualquier pregunta, ya saben, háblanos y buenas noches. Gracias. All right, thank you, Luann. We are all
You,
done.
you are welcome. I will end the webinar.
Thank you.